Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, switching to my radio voice. This is your sleep-deprived host, Tony Cañas, switching to my radio voice. Just got back from a week in Vegas, getting better training as a magician. And we are recording on Friday. I basically didn't sleep for a week, took the red eye back on Tuesday. So landed in Atlanta. I slept the whole time, landed in Atlanta Wednesday morning, 5 a.m., worked all day, slept, work all day Thursday, slept, and now we're here. So I'm almost halfway back to normal. It'll be Monday before I'm like fully back to normal. So you've been warned. So today I have with me Kyle Moore, founder at SettleSmart and fellow Atlantan. But we were not organized enough to get together in person. So as has happened many times, we are recording on Zoom, even though we're both from Atlanta, but although he's traveling. So first of all, Kyle, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Tony. I appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. Uh, and normally we break the ice over the weather, which here in Atlanta is this winter has been tough. And since I got back from Vegas, it's just been cloudy and rainy. And
Yeah.
looking at the weather app, like it's supposed to be cloudy for the next like week. So you
Ugh.
are currently traveling in South Carolina?
I'm in southwestern Virginia, actually,
Virginia. So
and it's pretty beautiful here right now. 50s, sunny, so I'm happy about that.
fantastic. Southwestern Virginia. Is that no rich? It's not Richmond. It's not DC. What is Southwestern? Is that
It's
just like
south
almost
would
West Virginia?
be Roanoke is what you're looking
Roanoke. Oh,
for.
I've never
Yeah,
been. Okay, perfect,
that
perfect. All
area.
right, all right.
Yes,
Thank you for making time to chat with me today.
of
Uh,
course.
and for the listeners, just before we start recording, Kyle mentioned that he is fairly sure that he is the first defense attorney to come on the show, and
Plaintiff's attorney.
I need to edit that part out. That Kyle mentioned that he is the first plaintiff attorney to come on the show. We've had plenty of defense attorneys, and I think he might be right. I might have to dig through, but this is your content warning. That
Yes.
plaintiff attorney. This is your content. First
Trigger
warning.
warning.
This is your trigger warning for all the listeners. Okay, perfect. So Kyle, we always give the guest the chance to give the elevator pitch. What is SettleSmart?
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Tony. SettleSmart is a platform that is consumer facing that basically seeks to help provide personal injury plaintiffs or people who've been involved in personal injury cases with the documents they need to submit a claim to an insurance company and hopefully get their case resolved sooner, faster, and without having to pay a contingency fee to an attorney. So it's a do-it-yourself, self-help document generation tool, but it's really souped up and it comes with all of my years of experience litigating personal injury cases for plaintiffs. Yeah.
All right, all right, all right. Okay. So now that I know this, you might
Yes.
have the world's most confusing LinkedIn because you are actively a trial attorney in your own law office,
Correct.
which is a personal injury law firm.
Correct.
You've been running for 12 and a half years.
Yes.
Uh, and you have now launched this SettleSmart, this platform that basically should cost you and every other personal injury attorney business.
100%. I am trying to take cases away from personal injury attorneys.
But my
Yes.
friend, why are you trying to chew your own leg off?
Well, first of all, I think that in my experience, many cases do not need to be in the hands of attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm focused on a certain type of case with SettleSmart. I'm looking for
Mm-hmm.
those cases where having an attorney who claims to be a trial attorney is never going to take your case to trial, never going to even file it, maybe, and will
Mm-hmm.
just turn around at the statute of limitations and try to get you to take a settlement. I've spent a lot of time talking with adjusters and clients, and it seems that there's a need to fill a gap somewhere between a claimant who drafts their own demand using ChatGPT, which is sort of frustrating to adjusters in my recent conversations, And then on the other end, though, hiring a large billboard personal injury firm where the attorney's never really going to work on that small case. It's going to go to a case manager or a paralegal who's going to gather some documents, submit the information into a form, and then send that over to the insurer and then take a third of it. And so, yes, I'm trying to take cases away from lawyers who do that, mostly because my clients have asked me to. I've had several phone calls over the last couple of years with clients who have smaller value personal injury cases and don't want to have to get a lawyer, but have no other choice. It's like the knowledge on how to just compile the right documents and put it into the right format is hidden behind a contingency fee, and I don't think it should be. I think you need a trial lawyer for a real trial. Disputed liability, causation issues, things that can't be resolved through negotiations. Yeah, we have triers of fact for that. So, and I've done that many, many times to the great risk of both sides. It's very unpredictable, and I believe that insurers are wanting more predictability, more certainty rather than less. And so I'm very focused on finding cases that, could have been resolved for less than 15,000 bucks, but somehow end up in a policy busting bad faith situation. Why is that happening?
That this is brilliant, and absolutely love it. Okay,
Well, thank you.
I okay. So ADHD, sleep deprived Tony needs to concentrate for a little bit. Okay. So no, number one, I just noticed, and it's going to strike me if I don't say anything. I just noticed your marine pin.
Oh, yeah,
Thank you for your service.
you're welcome.
Um, and I also noticed on your LinkedIn that you're an Eagle Scout. So
I am, yes.
so psychology major, Eagle Scout psychology major, uh, Marine law school. That
Yes.
you're already a John Grisham book right there, right?
I'm also an amateur skateboarder. I know you do magic on the
I,
belt line,
I,
and I've
and
frequented the
I'm a
skate
roller
park and the
skater.
belt line all the time. Yeah.
Yes, I do magic on the Beltline, and I'm a roller skater.
Oh,
Uh,
nice. Me too. Yeah, I've
I
actually got my
don't
quads right over here.
so awesome. Don't often combine them, but yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, you're already a John Grisham novel to begin with.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
And
I've worked, really hard to get some credibility behind me, and I know that there's stories from both sides, but me personally, the way I was trained to be a trial lawyer was to work on meritful cases and to do due diligence to look for, lying and fraud, because at the end of the day, jurors can smell credibility. And if that's who's going to decide the case, then I want to be the most credible person in the room, my client too. And so that's what SettleSmart is trying to accomplish, is to give folks this knowledge to make it reasonable. You can't upload your documents and choose $1 million as your settlement value when you've only got four treatments. There's checks and balances built into our infrastructure to account for things like that. So, and we're really looking at those garden variety cases where the adjuster, if they just had the right information and all those buttons were pushed for the statutory requirements, they would respond in a fair way. And if the client could save themselves thousands by not having to share a contingency fee, they're more likely to take that offer and to take it fast. And if you could direct deposit it right into your account, even great. Yeah, and better. There's some platforms who are doing that, which maybe we could partner with. But I think there's a lot of room to innovate in claims. And I've been trying to learn as much as I can from the insurance industry, those who will talk to me about what's going on. And the folks who are paying attention to claims with the same attitude as underwriting and revenue generating are really the folks I want to associate with, because one claims adjuster could create a situation either through a third party administrator or some other agent that takes what an underwriter expected to be a maximum $25,000 value or something like that and turn it into millions, in unexpected costs.
so I'm originally from Costa Rica, and I've been in the States for 23 years. And the first 10 years of that was in very easygoing, very peaceful, very quiet Iowa.
Okay.
A lot less attorney billboards in Iowa. I mean, still have them.
Good.
Here in
Yeah.
Atlanta, they're everywhere, as in
It's
every large city.
ridiculous, ridiculous. And
Uh,
just so everyone knows, I've never had one. I've never paid for a commercial. I've never advertised. I
uh,
built my
so
practice on word of mouth, business to business.
I so then I started working in insurance. My first couple of years in claims. Now I was at the very entry level of claims. I would take the call for Farm Bureau of Iowa and work the small claims, and then at Nationwide, I worked MedPay claims. So I was not in the attorney rep world or in the litigated world. I have plenty of friends who are, and I've spoken at plenty of claims conferences, usually about how to engage and retain millennials. But I'm a nerd, so when I speak at a conference, I go to the sessions. Uh,
Yeah.
and I was the official magician for PLRB last year for the Property and Liability Resources Bureau, which is the largest claims advisory organization and education organization in the country. That was a great conference also about a year ago in
Okay.
March. So I get to sit into it on a lot of talks about claims, even though my
Mhm.
actual experience handling claims is very limited. Um, and it has always been mind-boggling to me how so many claims end up attorney repped and then settled, right? Because and I had never thought
Yeah.
and I had always thought like how exactly does that work? Where the 800 number attorney, right? How exactly does that work? I know that they usually get a third in some areas they get more than a third, but like it seems like the countrywide average is a third. And
Mhm.
the complaint that I hear from my side of the game, from the claim side, is that the majority of the time those attorneys basically just disappear and then appear just before the statute uh just before the statute expires. And I always wondered, I never knew how to ask like how to phrase it, but I always wondered, like, doesn't the attorney want to get paid also, right? Like my day job, I run a recruiting firm. It's also by commission. uh like I want to fill the role as quickly as possible so I can get paid,
Right.
as opposed to
Right.
hold it until the day before it expires, kind of thing, right? Now, there's no statute in my world, but yes, like your explanation makes so much sense. Now, I'm assuming some personal injury firms, the ones that don't advertise on billboards, truly focus on the cases that truly require that are truly complex, and where there's still real disputes, whether it's on coverage, whether it's on what actually happened, whether it's on the value of, or the proper amount to restore this person
Right.
to you get what I'm saying. Like I
Right.
can get how for a big enough claims, a plaintiff attorney makes sense, uh, but it does seem that there's way too many, if not the majority. I have no idea, but there's way too many who appear to be completely transactional. And I was wondering how do they make it profitable? I think you just explained it, right? But so
Yeah.
basically, the,
I
so
think
to correct.
I think that in the industry, there's two different groups of
Mm-hmm,
lawyers
mm-hmm,
looking for personal injury cases and consumers, people who need to uh, get a claim or a benefit off of a policy, which is just a promise contract underlying this. You know, there's an insured, there's humans involved in this whole life cycle. So, but the attorneys generally fall into two categories. One, you have a very high volume. You're trying to get as many cases as you can, settle them, of course, yeah, as fast as you can, but some people get really large and lots of bureaucratic inefficiencies and things like any other business. And then you have another group of lawyers who do personal injury cases who actually go to trial and are litigators and who are not going to be profitable taking a case that's worth, 10,000 bucks and litigating it because, deposition and transcript costs today, if you want to do a video, is 2,500 bucks minimum most of the time. So where's this money going to come from?
mm-hmm.
And I think that SettleSmart is primed to pick up some opportunities here when in places like Georgia and Florida, there have been legislative changes to make it harder for those higher volume personal injury firms to threaten litigation or to use things like attorney's fees and other types of legislative
Are
penalties
so
to work those cases up. So
I,
these people have no place to go.
I'm not an expert in Florida, but I have again at conferences seen a lot and a lot of articles about the recent changes in the Florida legislature to try to curb what seems from our perspective to be a completely abusive system. How have those worked? Is it better?
Well, yeah, I spent some time in Florida. I'm not licensed there, so I don't handle cases there, but some of my colleagues do. But the gist of it that I got was that if you were an attorney who did property damage claims, and you submitted on behalf of a client a claim that was denied or where less value was offered than what you asked for, and then you litigated that case and then you won, even if the damage was only $1,000, you could charge attorney's fees on top of that, which could be $10,000. So an attorney would make $10,000 on a $1,000 claim, and it
Yeah,
was
it would
really
incentivize you
backwards.
to litigate stuff that made no sense.
Right, right. So I met some attorneys that, would set up these systems, computer systems to mass file hundreds of claims, and it was really in need of reform. And I think that, like, if I have to wait longer to get a jury trial on a real case with a real dispute because there's 1,500 cases filed on something that's not legitimate, like what I just
It's bad
described
for
was
everybody.
happening in Florida,
Absolutely.
it makes it
That's a
worse for,
very
yeah,
good point.
exactly. Exactly. And on a real dispute, it is still, I think, the truth that a looming jury trial is what brings the most pressure to a dispute to resolve it. So the sooner we can get to that point, the sooner the claim can get closed and underwriting can move on to the next thing for that particular area or line of business, and you don't have this open-ended risk of what's going to happen at a jury trial. That all, in my experience, could start with a small case. It could start with a small case of blown demand or, a setup by an attorney who's looking to take advantage of an opportunity within the claims space where there might be lack of communication or redundancies or just straight adjusters tell me they just straight can't do things. There are rules in place. They can't tell me certain things. They can't, if I could know a little bit more about what was happening behind the scenes, I could advise my client they might be more likely to resolve the situation. I can feel the frustration through the phone with the adjusters whose
Hmm.
hands are tied. It's not their fault. I understand that there's a lot more at play behind this. But yeah, there is no option for people who have a small case that want to settle it themselves to go to the insurer on equal footing, knowing what they need to have and how to present it. And I think that would make the adjuster's life easier. I think that would allow for a claim to be resolved more faster. And
Hmm.
if all these companies are offering just a small fraction of savings of time, well, this could be a large savings of time. Because most cases are these small garden variety rear ends or clear liability cases where there's nothing to dispute. There's only documentation to produce and valuation to assess, and then a check to be written. That's the promise that's been made.
Let's
So yeah,
let's dig into it a little. Okay,
sure.
so hopefully everybody, including you, can see my screen, right? The SettleSmart website. I haven't actually looked at it. More settlement money, no lawyer fees. No lawyer fees. No
No lawyer
lawyer fees. Right
fees.
there,
No,
no lawyer fees.
no,
Um, okay, right there, loving it. Okay, and again, like there are cases where yes, we need lawyers, of course.
for sure. Always
Okay,
will be.
yeah. SettleSmart helps people with small car wrecks settle quickly and fairly and without hiring a lawyer by giving them the exact steps, documents, and insider know-how that lawyers use. Don't pay a big fee out of your settlement for something you can do yourself. Okay, do I have a case? And then it kind of helps me think through whether I have a case. Fantastic. And then how does it work? You answer some questions, upload the documents. It calculates pain and suffering. And like you said, it doesn't let me create documents for $1 million if I broke a nail.
It doesn't.
Uh,
No, it's actually a very user involved process to do the
uh-huh.
pain and suffering calculation. There are various things to select from, like We've uploaded all of the Medicare services activities of daily living codes, and you can
Uh-huh.
choose. If I've had
Uh-huh.
interference with an activity of daily living, you can choose which ones from the list you've had. There's also how many treatments have you had? You can select that number. Are there any future treatments? Just basic things that, in my experience, if you told a jury, I treated this many times, I have this many diagnoses, this is the future, what it looks like for me, they'd have a
Mm-hmm.
pretty good idea of what's really going on in your case. And those have limitations, though. So the proprietary process of calculating pain and suffering is based on basically what's been in my head and how I've tried jury trials. And it's specific to Georgia. So the Georgia jury
Oh,
charge
so
on
so so hold on. Right now, it's only doing Georgia. Did I understand
correct.
that correct? Okay,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Right. Right. Because we
Is that
want
mhm,
we're going to be doing this jurisdiction specific because
okay?
in Georgia, there's a specific code section for a settlement demand, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to come from a lawyer. If the insurer receives the settlement demand and cites the code section, well, it triggers the duty to respond and be bound by what the code section requires.
Is
So there's a similar process in Tennessee, similar process in Florida. So we would tailor the settlement demand package to those jurisdictions.
so the goal. By the way, like the client portal only asks me for a password. It doesn't give me like how does one get started with the process?
Right, right. So the client portal is our next phase. It's the
Oh, okay,
user
okay, okay.
interface
Perfect.
experience. It's currently
Uh-huh.
in development, and
Perfect.
we've finished the backend infrastructure, which is basically a cloud-based software as a service model, and it's built for scale, so it can handle thousands and thousands of
Mm-hmm.
claims. It's API accessible. All like these new terms I'm learning because I'm not a tech person. I'm a trial
Uh-huh.
lawyer, but I've learned a lot about medicine and things, going to trials and doing
Uh-huh.
presentations on evidence and stuff. So I'm trying to get the hang of this. I've tried a little vibe coding myself to learn Python and see what I'm looking at when my engineer is talking to me. But essentially, you pay to have this service. Right now, it's $99, and when you pay, you get your own portal and
Okay,
everything
okay, okay,
in.
okay. Perfect.
Yeah,
And it's a
and
flat fee,
inside the
99 bucks.
flat fee, 99
Okay, so
bucks.
so
Yep.
I pay my 99 bucks. I upload my documents, answer the questions.
Uh-huh.
This might take me an hour, I'm guessing.
Yeah, if you
Uh,
have all your documents ready, and then so then in the background, once you've completed the document uploads and you're ready to generate your settlement package, there's a quality assurance process that happens behind the scenes. A human
okay.
is going to review everything that's been
Mm,
submitted and created
human in the
behind
loop.
the
Okay.
scenes. Yeah, there's a
Mm-hmm.
human in the loop. And it's not just a AI API call to ChatGPT. The
Mm-hmm.
document generation process is built off of my personal injury documentation for a real demand written
As
under Georgia
with
law.
16 years of experience, almost 17.
You're not getting a chat GPT demand. You're getting a
Mm-hmm.
real lawyer created demand, but you are in charge of the process. So you're picking how much you want to settle for. You're putting in your own medical bills and things, and
Mm-hmm.
you're responsible for your case all the way from start to finish. But then
So,
once the
mhm,
quality assurance process happens
mhm,
and it's approved, you just download your settlement package and you get a demand letter, a release that's pre-filled out with all the information about the drivers, an exhibit with your pain and suffering calculation proof, the things you chose and how that matches up to either your personal journal entries, which you can submit, or the medical records. And you can print all of that off and send it to the insurance company and hopefully negotiate a little easier and give them everything they need to go ahead and put a good value on the case.
so quick question. So I pay the 99 bucks, submit, uh, I don't know, the next day or whatever, maybe later that day. I get back my stuff. If the system finds that this is not a good fit, that the case is too large for the what happens at that point.
Yeah, well, at that point, we would send the case back to the customer and recommend that they consult a lawyer.
Okay.
because we wouldn't want somebody who has like cord compression that's in one of their imaging or something like that to be limited to $15,000 because a cord compression injury could be worth much more. There could be
Okay, okay, okay,
long-term
okay, okay.
impacts from
Okay.
it. So yeah,
So
there's
it
some built-in checks around the
okay. So
diagnoses that are picked up.
uh they don't get their 99 bucks back if 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 you turn out to not
If
be a good
oh
fit.
oh yeah, absolutely they would.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
if
okay,
we
okay,
can't
okay,
handle
okay.
the case, yeah, they get their money
Perfect.
back.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the 99 bucks are like the total cost, but if we're not the right fit, you get your money back.
Right, right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And basically, then I grab that and I take it
Hmm.
to my claims adjuster, who should be thrilled, just thrilled, pink,
I mean,
tickled
the
pink.
amount of stories I hear about adjusters just trying to get phone calls back from
Yes,
unrepresented claimants on their documents or and they just can't get to the next screen. I do believe that, all adjusters, or for the most part, want to help resolve a
yes,
claim, want to
yes, yes,
manage
yes,
the payout in a fair and, expedient
yes.
way.
I
So,
I've gone through training for claims at two different carriers, Farm Bureau of Iowa and Nationwide, and then I've been through so many claims conferences. No longer as an adjuster, but I can assure you that, and because my audience knows this, but in case this happens to be,
yeah.
because in case this happens to be listened to a little more by your side of the coin, uh, the way that we train the adjusters is we want to pay what we owe, not a cent less, not a cent more, right?
Hmm.
Now, making that happen is a really tricky thing. And
Yes.
your average adjuster is buried under way too many claims. That is a problem that we have on our side that I've been advocating for a while. Uh, and adjusters do tend to burn out, and they do tend to become cynical,
Hmm.
right? They
Yes.
stay
Yeah.
because like every call you have, somebody's having a bad day, otherwise they would be chatting with you. Now,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
uh going too far into the weeds,
I
but
mean,
yes,
I get it. I had an adjuster literally tell me yesterday, a litigation adjuster in a file that's very serious, a commercial line case, not a case for SettleSmart. But I had a very seasoned adjuster really tell me this, that if the plaintiff is over 400 pounds and 4'5", that he or she absolutely 100% has back pain. And I got from this point of view that you've probably seen maybe lawyers try to say that someone doesn't have back pain, but then their physical stature suggests that they actually do. And maybe you've seen that in evidence and it's been proven. Well, that's lying. That's fraud. But from my point of view, I expect that on behalf of the insured and the claimant and the regulations around the companies you work for, that we don't make assumptions about things. We just look at the evidence and then, like you said, don't pay a cent more or a cent less. But bringing in a personal bias or some bent of mind towards a type of thing, I can tell you how this is going to pan out because before my dad passed away, he tried 120 jury trials as a plaintiff's lawyer, and a
wow.
defense lawyer for an insurance company called his client fat in front of the jury and tried to do that same thing, blame her weight for her
Oh,
problems, or at least suggest that maybe it's related. And there was a fat person on the jury, fat,
yeah, I'm not an
overweight.
attorney, but I'm
And
gonna guess that was a really bad idea.
really bad idea, really bad idea. And I mentioned that story to this adjuster I just told you about, and she said, well, we'll just take care of that in jury selection. And I'm like, you just keep digging in, keep digging into this very high risk situation where 12 strangers in Georgia are going to decide, and they don't know anything about insurance or law for the most part. And it's as equally risky to you as it is to me. So if that's good fiscal
Whew.
policy, what I think that really where I think that comes from is not the rules around how adjusters are trained or how insurers operate. It's some kind of cultural thing from a leadership position, some influential leader, maybe someone who's been with the company a while, who's putting their own influence into the training that they do. and causing a little bit of a, feels really like us versus them out there. And I hope SettleSmart can be a middle ground for
Anything,
even smaller cases where an
yes.
adjuster or a carrier maybe could use enter the SettleSmart platform, and there could be a mutual way where if the claimant feels like they're involved, this is why I added some toggle buttons and things to the user experience. If the claimant feels like they're involved and they understand what's happening, I think that they'll take less money in the end because they get it
Yeah,
faster and they don't have to pay a lawyer and they know
yeah,
why. They
yeah,
know why,
1,000%, a thousand
you
percent.
know?
Anything that helps the two sides have a meeting of the minds less painfully,
Yes.
faster.
And I think with
Uh,
technology, that's very powerful right now. So if
mhm.
I could vibe code my way halfway through a tech stack, like anybody, like we should be innovating hardcore, right? And here's the best part about this, I think, is that if you improve your reputation with your customers by creating a transparent and fair and expeditious claims process,
Yeah.
you're going to make more money in the long run anyway. And the next generation of insurance consumers demands this ease, demands this logical, neutral, bureaucratic ground where we're just here to get a claim done. We're shuffling some papers around and that's it, The simplicity, I think, needs to come back or be changed. And I was telling a guy from London the other day because I applied for Lloyd's Lab. I'm trying to learn as much as I can from insurers. I came in late, so I didn't get selected this round, but I'll try again. But he said insurers need to change their reputation to be more like action heroes, there to save the day when something goes wrong. And I was like,
Yes.
yes. Let me take
Yes.
this a step further. In litigation, you want to be the doctors and the hospitals because they get the benefit of the doubt when something goes wrong. They win 75% of the time, no matter what the facts are in Georgia. I've done med mal for 13 years. Insurers need to be like that, like healthcare providers, there to save the day. The reputation is when something goes wrong, we're there to help. Thank you, and I think that that can happen. I think that instead of having angry jurors who know that an insurer is trying to pull one over on them, so they're going to punish through their verdict, that has nothing to do with me at all. I just step out of the way and let the facts lead to where they lead. And I've been involved in three nuclear verdicts in my short career with I'm not a Morgan and Morgan. I mean, who am I? So all that happened from facts and claims handling. That's it.
So, love this. Absolutely love this. Looking at your LinkedIn, I just realized, did you just launch SettleSmart like a month ago?
Yeah, well, I've been working on it since last summer,
Okay.
building it with one of my kids from dads from school. He's an
Uh-huh.
engineer in Mexico, so he's been helping me work on it,
But
and
did you just like
yeah.
go public with it kind of thing?
Yeah, I kind of just started announcing that this is coming. The website is up now. The client portal is going to be
I
ready soon. And I'm looking for a partner. I've applied to the Y Combinator
uh-huh.
just recently, and I
Uh-huh.
really feel like I need a chief technical officer or some
Uh-huh.
people to
Uh-huh.
work
Uh-huh.
with
Absolutely. A
because
thousand percent.
yeah, the ultimate goal of SettleSmart at the beginning was to offer
Mm-hmm.
this easy claims process to not just small personal auto lines and small claims there, but also small home claims,
Mm-hmm.
trip and travel insurance claims, and now pet claims because veterinary underwriting is getting pretty hot. So, this could
Mm-hmm.
be a claims, not like a TPA, but just a tool of a claims resolution set of tools for various lines of business. And it's built that way like the way we built it on the cloud to be connected to you could white label it, it could be running in the background and you didn't even know it's SettleSmart. It could also just sell to consumers who want to get a demand package generated for themselves. It's really multifunctional, but by
How
design.
how did I find you this quickly?
I don't know. Yeah, you kind of reached out and I was like, well, this is cool. He wants to talk already and they're all about insurance. And
Uh,
I'm trying to extend the hand here. I mean, I'm really
Uh,
like,
I gotta say, so sometimes I impress myself. I have no idea, and this was not like your PR firm reaching out, right? I randomly found you.
no, I don't have a
Uh,
PR firm. I've never
wow.
used any marketing money
All
at
right.
all. I've done a good job for my clients and they call
Uh-huh.
back and I take
It
cases where there's a problem, like something's gone wrong. There's
it is
legal
very
negligence.
what you're doing is very very cool. It makes sense to
Thank
me.
you.
Now a
I
little
was
part of
worried
me
about that a
a little
little
part of
bit.
me is nervous about my tribe jumping down my throat for having a defense excuse me a plaintiff lawyer on, but no, like I think this makes perfect sense for both sides,
Yeah.
and I'm being a little facetious on that. I think that this makes sense in general,
Yeah.
and
I have had some discussions with a chief underwriter for a major
excellent.
carrier and
Mm-hmm.
some other, and like I try to talk to everyone, people at
Mm-hmm.
the gas station. I'm going to run a focus group on this and show them and say, hey, well, what do you think about it? I do focus groups for all of my litigation
Okay.
cases anyway.
Uh-huh.
So I
do,
just want
do
to
you,
learn as much as I can about how this could be helpful.
perfect. Do you expect to be live on Georgia in Georgia later this year, basically?
Oh, within a matter of weeks. Yeah, we'll be
And
live
how
in
long after
Georgia.
that do you think you'll start launching other states?
Pretty soon because once that format's done, it's very easy to
Okay,
tell
perfect.
our tech, how to change it to Tennessee. And then when you log into the client portal, you'll pick which jurisdiction you're in,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll set
Okay.
up everything to where you get a Tennessee
So,
specific
okay,
demand.
currently you're kind of an army of one. It's you,
Yeah.
and you have
Yeah.
one like tech friend that's been helping you vibe code this
Ye-
thing.
Yes, yeah.
But you're at the point where you need a
I
CTO.
I am, yeah. I'm at the point where
Okay.
I need people who care about this, obviously. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I have my own very successful law practice, so this is more about
Are
me doing it
you
because I want to than it is. I'm
uh
not trying to go cash out with some VCs and stuff. I just want to make this.
I was gonna that was my
Yeah.
next question. And by the way, feel free to tell me to cut anything out. That's why we don't do it live. But are you are you open to angel or VC investment?
I mean, I am because I realized that hiring people and getting some marketing around the different launches, I think although it can be targeted and streamlined and very
Mm-hmm.
efficient, because I've bootstrapped my way to this point,
I figured.
but
Good
yeah,
for
I
you
feel like, yeah, having some other access to capital, not to pay myself, but to like pay other people to
to
help
be
me
able to
do this.
grow this thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
and just
right.
to be working on it. Yeah.
All right, Kyle. I absolutely love it. So excited, like so freaking exciting that not only you're doing this, but like so exciting that we had you on the show, as
Hey,
this
thank
is
you so
just
much.
beginning. I look
Yeah.
forward to have you back as it keeps growing. Uh,
All right.
uh, Stay on the line.
Okay.
Let's stop recording here. Thank you so much. This is truly a fantastic idea, and
Awesome.
this is the kind of thing we need in the middle, uh,
Yes.
to that is good for everybody, right? That is,
Yes.
yes, like yes, let's litigate the cases that we need to litigate, and let's settle quickly the case there's no need to litigate. That is just good for everybody involved,
Yeah.
right?
You
Except for
don't
the
need
ambulance
it.
cases.
You don't need a trial lawyer unless you're going to go to trial, and most
That that
cases don't. So,
that should be your slogan. You don't need a trial lawyer unless you're going to go to trial.
I mean,
Uh,
but at the same time, I would be remiss if I didn't say, like, when I take a case personally, I only take a case that I know I want to take to trial, at least, at some point in the future. And I work it up like it's going to be decided by a jury the same way every time, no matter what. Well, it's just different than what you see in the billboards in Atlanta. They're not doing that. They're not, so.
it's been a while since I've done this during an episode, but this just on fire, absolutely on fire. Thank you so
Hey,
much for your
thanks, man.
time today,
Appreciate it.
do stay on the line.
All right.
This is Tony Cañas, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode of Profiles in Risk. If you enjoyed it, please like it on your podcast app. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Insurance Nerds. Subscribe to it on your favorite podcast app. And most importantly, share the word. Tell your friends, post about it on LinkedIn, post about it on all your social media. Help others find this wonderful content that we have now been producing for 800 plus episodes. And can you believe that it took me 800 episodes to actually finally record an outro? Thank you so much.